That's what it is. That's what it does.
Right, here we go.
The Fly Fifer and Just Another Monkey. Time to backpedal forwards down the rabbit hole.
And hello. Hello,
back.
Everybody. We are back. We're back inside the monkey's cage, and amongst all Alan's shit, as he says, and he's demanded that I be on camera a bit more this time, so I'm here instead of being the wee boy looking round, wondering what's going on.
It's for the ladies.
It's
want
for
a bit of candy.
For the ladies, aye. I'm not that Kaz Mulligan boy.
Oh, chocolate.
There's a wee mention to someday. So, but aye, yes, this is session 3 of Just Another Monkey, and entering into Alan's past, his mind, his trio of characters, and last session we hovered around a certain age group, and I cut it at that age group, and that was we're floating kind of 21, 26, in and out. There's a younger part that I'd really like to approach today, but initially I know that Alan and myself were appreciative of everybody that's watched, everybody that's commented. We have both been inundated with not requests, but mentions, shout outs, thank yous, you name it. And don't direct them at me, direct them at him. It's this man that's brought this on, so we both thank you all for any feedback that
even if it's only 10 years that keep watching it over and over. I'm delighted, because if it gets through, then yeah. And the one thing I would say, that the ultimate thing, although it may not grab everybody straight away, there is a purpose, there is a climb that leads you to the finale.
Exactly.
And the finale is what is sitting in front of you right now, with a tiny bit on the end.
That's right.
The other part is that the getting pulled up with my wife because the tangent. So you need to fucking draw him back in every time he wanders away, because he will wander off. He's been wandering off for me for years.
And he wanders.
If you engage him and get him in and just rein him back in.
And the conversations we have off this. I should have a recorder in my pocket sometimes, because I tell you, there's some gold in the conversations as well.
That's one of the things that I've found throughout the whole journey, is that there's elements of gold, and it's nuggets of information that are gems, and that is simply because where you're going to go with this is Shit Creek. There is fucking gemstones in amongst that shite, but it's just how far are you willing to go? Now, I certainly never dived in by choice, but fuck me, it's sink or swim, and I learned to swim.
And on that, Alan, I'm going to ask you to roll up your sleeves and dive back in.
Let's get in.
And
I tell you, I've no fear of going back in.
I stopped us around 21, 26 of Alan's life, because that's when it was going to change. I think I felt there was a change coming there, so I want to do, as we said, I want to back paddle. I want to go backwards. I want to go backwards, because Alan's hit on a few things, and one of the main things that I feel we need to, I don't know, what is it they say? Get the monkey out of the room, or talk about the monkey in the room. Well, we're surrounded by monkeys.
The monkey's the one you want to engage. You'll give you the truth as it stands.
Well,
do you know what it is, James? It's the primeval side of my mind. There is a basic instinct within my head. It's a survival mechanism, and if I can attribute that to anything, it would be the monkey. The other one is because I keep saying all these things, these strange alignments, serendipitous moments, synchronicities in life. My wife has perfect word and terminology, whereas a lot of people will no understand if I say it's spirituality or guidance. She would probably say spirituality where I say guidance, because that's another confusion. But if I just iron that out, that the ultimate, and it's in the DNA, it's what was there for the original source. Original source to me is the survival mechanism, and that is that instinctual thing. It is, I mean, again, I digress, because I didn't know the wording for it.
I'm the same. I get they're on the tip of your tongue all the time, but anyway, to back paddle, as I was saying, whoosh, right back. Alan, I want to take you right back. I want to hear about I want to hear, I'm hoping that everybody else wants to hear. Let's go back to the wee boy.
Cool.
The wee boy that built the wall.
Yeah.
I think there's an important part that we've not hit on yet with the wee boy. You've brushed across it, you've chucked stains at it, you've maybe tickled the sides of the wee boy so far, but I think we need to hear more about the cause and effect to that wee boy. The cause and effect, because cause and effect's huge in this story. Everybody will see that already. So that wee boy, now you hit on an element of abuse, and I think let's get rid of that. If we can do that in this hour, or we can do it in 5 minutes. If it's let's get rid of it, you know. It'll be what it is. But that's a question I want to hit on: is the wee boy, the abuse, the cause and effect of that specific element?
Because that's where trauma begins.
Yeah, correct.
To me, that's everything that is out there right now with mental health, and I do believe that it's not getting any easier, and it's not going to get any easier until we work it out for ourselves. The books, all the medication in the fucking world is never going to do this. Again, it reverts back to the sack. It's what you've got in that sack. It's your sack. You carry it. You have to be able to swing that fucker in front of you and face it.
Right.
That's what I've done. That's all I've done. And it's the easiest and simplest way. How I managed to carry that baggage is a different ballgame.
Right.
But again, you could go to the gym. So
take us back to the wee boy and the first memory that just something wasn't right. And I'm not talking about the holes in the jeans or where you lived. No. Something's wrong with the wee boy.
See, there's a... If you're talking in this other realm, then yes, there was always something there, because the dreams and the nightmares, they were there. And I think the darker side of it is the feeling.
Right.
So that feeling for my granny, my paternal granny, because it didn't matter who my dad was, she was still my granny, because they were brothers. Which, again, it's me not putting a face on a name to something. So when I was, as we grew to about 77, there was feelings, and to me it's the wrong feelings. I picked up on these negativities, and again the psychologist will tell you, excuse me, that that adverse childhood experience, we as kids we draw on it. So if there's negativity, we'll feel it. I reckon that began in the womb. Now, whether that was that I could pick up on the negativity that maybe my parents were fighting and arguing about that what I was or who I was, but certainly as I grew into the wee boy that started to hide behind that wall, the fucking fear I had of this woman, my granny, was justified, because she terrified me and she did not fucking like me. Now, all I had to go on as a wee boy was my mum saying to me, it's because you're a cheeky wee bastard.
Right.
And that was about as much as I got. But to me, it didn't work, because I wasn't cheeky, because she terrified me. So it's like going up to Tyson Fury and saying, "Oh, you big prick, he'll punch you right in the face." So that didn't work for me. But
do you think, like what you were saying, like, you know how they say play whale music and all that, or classical music to a baby in a womb?
Yes.
Do you think that there's been negative arguments with granny and mum in the back that's led onto that baby coming out into this world of shit that's already created for?
Yeah, because
it's caused that.
It's nature nurture.
So
to me, nature is, you should feel love, you should feel comfort, you should be surrounded, protected, and everything else. If you remove that, you become the fucking you become the fetus outside the egg. And that's what I was like. If I was a twin, and I was the one that wasn't getting fed, I was the runt of the litter, 100%. So I mean, my wife and I have talked about this, that I think there was, because I didn't know, and because everybody's passed away, I'll never get the answers, the truth. But to pick up on the negativity, I think there may have been that resentment there from the start. Now, if there was, I didn't even know to this day how and why the conversation come up. I know that obviously fast forwarding, which we didn't want to do, I know how the message got passed on face source to an individual who then passed it back to me. I then went to the two main culprits, my mum and the guy who was my uncle, who I fucking adored. I thought he was great, because he was whereas the guy that I thought was my old man was a very dull, boring man to me, because again we didn't have a bond. So as a wee boy I picked up that there was no bond between me and him.
Do you think he was way because he knew?
James, I don't know. But again, when the revelation actually at 21, I questioned him because he was still alive. The other one had died. He was 3 years gone.
Right.
And then I got told, and obviously my granny, she was gone as well. But this secret was held on to until then, until my rite of passage. And then I was gifted it. And then when I says to him, I says, look, why did you never say anything? He says, I did try to tell you. And I thought, I must have been fucking out of my nut in the glue the day you told me that one, because it would have registered. Because when it did come out, it was the pennies
as big as that's going to register.
Penny drops were fucking amazing because it justified everything. It justified every adverse childhood experience regarding why I was disliked, why I didn't feel wanted. The only person that really wanted me there was my mum. And no, for the wee boy, noticing, I think, like you say, is there a pinnacle moment? No, it was just a feeling. It was that feeling, I don't know, no, not so much no wanted, but awkward.
Right.
It was the elephant in the room that was never discussed. It was a bit picking up.
And you picked up on that as a kid, as that 100%. wee boy. It was there 100%. No issue. You knew that was a very real feeling. But
again, that gift of hindsight. It only took me, I don't know, when I was coming of age. So fast forward to 14, because everything happened in a 7-year cycle. You won't believe that, but again, that's maybe another show. But by the time I was 14, I was destined to be what I was going to be, irrespective, because that was when I had found, I searched everywhere and there was zero fucks to be had. But leading up to that, I would stare at everything because I never knew. And obviously you get the U2 song, when that came out, I've still not found what I'm looking for. I had no idea what I was looking for. I just knew I was missing something. And again, there's all the cliche things, going to the football with your dad, or bouncing up and down your dad's knee, you know, that fucking going fishing or whatever. No, none of that was there. So I didn't know what was missing. It was only as I step by step realising that there was something wrong, something amiss. And that's when the penny drop moments actually, they come in, they become relevant.
So I don't know if we want to talk about this, the Gypsy Bray incident that you told me about.
Yeah. I mean, it's a classic because, again, it moulded me into the self-destruct of a youth, of a very young fucking age.
And that is probably led, that cause, that effect, you know, what effect came for that cause? Because I don't know if you want to elaborate on what happened there. I know you've told me, but it's for you to put out if you want. If you didn't want to, nobody will worry.
There is no point in me doing this if I'm not going to be honest, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with myself. Anybody that watches this, they'll see that there's an honesty in me that is, I can't hide it. I didn't want to fucking hide it. I'm too old to hide it. So,
I guess what I'm digging at, Alan, is, and I'm going to keep quiet in a minute and let you talk, because I need to let you talk. It's just that it's the cause and effect thing that I've been away listening to the introduction, the conversations that we've had the last hour's week, and it's just the one thing that's went over and over in my mind. And I was going to have all these questions, and I've got 3 out of this,
But they're gems.
But they're the gem. Aye, I think so. I think they're key points.
Everyone is a key. Like I said, the spider's web effect.
Key. We're back to and key.
The spider's web effect works in it all, because everything strings together. So if you go to that one, the ripple effect out of that has created what was.
Right.
Not what is, but what was. It steered me onto a individual path.
Yeah.
Now, as a wee boy, having that thing, searching, I would look under stains, under old bust couches in the back gardens, wherever I could find, I would go and I would wander. I found myself doing it Gypsy Bray at the shows. I had no fucking money to be at the shows. I shouldn't have been at the shows. I don't know why I was at the shows. Maybe it's the attraction, the flashing lights and everything else.
Loud music, flashing lights.
And the TikTok, there's the fun fair. You flick the page and it's the unfair.
The unfair.
It's that same thing. So I'm there and I'm wandering up the road like a fucking dateless fucker. I'm staring up at the stars. I'm looking at shit. And then a guy that was at my primary school, he appeared with this older felly. And we've walked up the road together. And we're at the back of Pennywell, at the flats, the big
box,
tower. And the other guy, the other young guy that was at school with me, he's awfully keen to get home. He's got to get home. And he kept emphasising it, whereas the fucking naive, daft bastard, I'm just wandering up. The next minute, he's went away, and then the weirdos want to keep walking. But then he's, for whatever reason, he's managed to corral me into the back of the flats.
Right.
And that's when he kind of made his move. Now, it wasn't I don't know, I just had no idea what the fuck was going on, not a clue.
Right.
And like I say...
Age bracket, roughly?
I must have been about 8.
8, right.
8, 9-year-old. Again,
what the fuck are you going to know at 8?
Yeah, well, again,
Aye.
well that, see, the worst thing for me was when that happened, it meant nothing to me. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what he was attempting, what he was trying to do or whatever. There was nothing resonated to it at all. It was just a bizarre thing.
Aye.
And then as primary school finished, and then you're heading for secondary school, that's when it actually fucking registered what the fuck had happened. Because it's like one of these things, he's like, still didn't get it. And then when it came in, and honestly, it was the biggest punch in the face I'd had, because like you said, I'm dealing with this hatred thing. By that time, I would say, because the 7-year cycle, by 77, we had left Royston. That was where I grew up. That's where I had all my wee pals and everything else. And we eventually landed in the belly of the beast. The one thing that stuck out is we ended up in one of these women's places, the refuge things. The Salvation Army it was. And Leith.
Just turn that a wee bit, mate. It's just dropping off.
In Leith, which is now the Malmaison Hotel.
Yeah.
I was in there, and again, out wandering about, I'm standing looking into the water of Leith, and I lost my balance, and I was fucking trying to get and it was honestly, James, it was like somebody took the collar of my shirt and just pulled me back.
Right.
And saved me. Again, it's one of these things, when I'd done the hands up thing, if I'd known what it was saving me for, I would have rather the fucker had let me go. Because seeing what was coming, if I could see that coming, man. But anyway, that was the first one. As in this feeling of presence, guidance, spirituality, whatever words you want to say to cover it, there was something else there. I would lie in my bed in this place, we weren't there long, and I would stare at the window, and it was a dirty window, and I could see battle scenes in this window, which fucking intrigued me. Great, again, source of entertainment, because I've got fuck off, no toys or nothing, no stimulus whatsoever.
It's back to that beautiful mind I spoke about earlier.
100%.
That entertaining you as a kid,
Well, we upgraded to the grass market, but by that time, my brother and I, we realised that there was something we could do that was entertaining. We could not fuck at each other.
Right.
He chased me. I ran in front of a Daimler car. The fucker twatted me clean down the Cowgate. I ended up in the hospital, scraped to smithereens. But by the time I had this wee recovery again, it was only a matter of days. I come back for the school at Toll Cross, and I've went in. Horrible place. Lovely idea, didn't get me wrong, but there's only so much urine you can smell. This place stunk of piss as a wee boy. But they were gone. My big brother, my mum, they were gone. I thought because I was a wounded chick, they'd just abandoned me and left me. And I remember being heartbroken, and the old pissy ladies are trying to console me. No, they're away looking at a new house for you. We ended up in our house, but then we ended up back, and that's when we fully landed in the belly of the beast. That's when we landed in Pilton. And I don't care what anybody says, Pilton will make or break you 100%. I grew up in Royston, and I've known all the schemes around about, but that place was a different world altogether. And obviously we know that the high flats is within Pilton. Because the flats are on the border between Pilton and Muirhouse. So in there, that was that's where it all kind of stemmed from. The flats, we were staying in Ferry Road Avenue at the time. But the flats was a biggie. So by the time secondary came, I went to Ainsley Park. The demons were in. Man, they were fucking in. And they were kicking the absolute shite. So everything, all the stuff you're saying, all the wall preparation was useless. Absolutely obsolete. Because there was nothing was going to house this. Nothing at all. It took over everything. Every thought I had, eyes open, eyes shut, made no odds, sitting in the room. And that's why when I had put it in the wee story about sitting in the room, and you become very, very conscious, you become so fucking conscious that the rest of the world is an unconscious thing. Because it doesn't matter what's happening out there, it's what's in here, and you watch every fucking minute detail. And because I had ventured into all these other places, I knew how to study everything. And it was probably one of my worst traits, that I stare and I study things because I need to analyse what is, because maybe it's that natural instinct of fear that I need to know what's happening. I have to know, so I'll stare until I can work it out and break it down myself. Because breaking that down, even if it was 11, 12-year-old, till, say, the confirmation was... again, spotting the female form and thing. Oh, hello, sailor. That was my salvation. Then come the glue, because obviously throwing the hands up was then. I battled that for a long time, and it was horrible, absolutely horrible. And no, it's that same thing where you're feeling that overwhelming presence of negativity and hate and hurt as a wee boy, to then get a justification that everything that I felt for this bigger traumatic event, they were all destined to get me. It was unnatural and undeserving, because it didn't want to be something that I had to work out. I shouldn't have had to work that out. I shouldn't have been there on my own. I shouldn't have been in that environment. But that environment shouldn't be breeding fucking weirdos that can prey on young boys and things like that. So there's 110 elements, and trust me, the way that I'm saying I stare at things, I analyse the whole thing. I break the whole thing down.
Yep.
And I have to fast forward. When you're breaking it down later on in life, and you've got that bag in front of you, and you start realising, that's not mine. I should never have been there. That's not mine. As a father, you're supposed to protect that. I understand why you didn't protect, because I wasn't yours. So, and then that brings in the other guy who had totally abandoned it, whether it was the right thing or the wrong thing to do. It left me out, and I was the one that suffered. Nothing else suffered, only me. So that the punishments began. Second. That's when it really kicked in.
Right.
Does that do enough for it, do you think? Does that justify? I think that in itself.
If you're feeling like that, then move on. I would say.
Much that move on. I just didn't want to bug people and bore people. A shitty topic, because it is a shit topic. Unfortunately, there's people that deal with it on a daily basis that didn't deal with it the way that I dealt with it. And whether I was right or wrong.
What about finishing it by how you dealt with it then?
Again, that's...
or what? Where did it take you? Where did it put you after that?
Once the recognition of what had actually happened resonated, it took me to the fucking edge of life. Right on the edge. I mean, right on the edge. One where I'm saying where I'd lost my balance. If I'd lost my balance, then I'm gone. I'm fucking out of here, because I didn't want to be here. Didn't want to be here. If that's what life was, I've got all this shite that I've accumulated, that people didn't want me, didn't like me, for whatever reason. You're a cheeky wee bastard, whatever bullshit they come out with. To have that and then get landed this fucking huge thing here, that not only did I no understand it, I couldn't actually carry it physically. It was a fucking load, a heavy burden for my wee tiny shoulders. So I managed.
Exactly. And if somebody comes up to those tiny shoulders with an escape, what you got to do?
That's how I've got to grab it, both hands.
You know what I mean? You've got that big bag of shite with you that's ever expanding. You know, it's getting fuller and fuller of bricks every week, every year. You know, so you get the escape. The escape comes in, we're what, first year? I
would say, I know that when I met that guy, when I met him, he was in my year at secondary school. I hadn't met him prior to that. He was for a different... He was, again, no far away in Pilton. Maybe still in the same scheme. Again, it was the alignment. Something drew this guy into me, into my life at a time where I was in the darkest place I could be. Nothing was working for me. It didn't matter that, if I could do this, if I could do that, it wasn't working. There was nothing happening, and that's when the hand moment. That's a massive thing for me, because I threw my hands at him and says, just be done with it. Fucking get me out of here. This is shite. And then he appeared. And that was... So dealing with it, it was maybe a back door for me, because that's how I dealt with it. That's what dealt with it over and above me. So whatever was... Because I like to say, and again, it's in the big story, there's a passing. It's like that revolving doors, or whatever the movie was called. There's something there, and then there's me here. And when I get to there, I said, you know what, shove it, I don't want to be here. The glue appeared, and then boom, this other thing took over. Now, if that's where the wee boy went behind the wall, and this new persona took over, I can go with that. I can relate to that.
So I think negative to positive, if there can be a positive in, glue or
I think
solvent abuse, as we mentioned before.
I think that is.
There has to be a funny. There has to be. There has to be. You know, exactly. And I'm just thinking we've come under a dark cloud. Let's, you know, there must be a funny. One of your funniest first recollections.
On the glue. Well, I mean, the first one, the very first time that we done it, man. I'm saying to the guy that said, look, I might say this and I might say that, and it might be bullshit because I've no idea what to expect. It's like doing the first one of these with you. I've not got a fucking clue what's going to happen, but I'm up for it. If this is a chance, then yes, because something brought this to me and I was clever enough to realise, no, then you look the gift horse in the mouth. Yeah. Not until you've had a look at his teeth. So I was on the railway and I've heard my name being shouted, and I said to him, do you hear that? As in, some fucker knows I'm here. I'm caught. I went down onto the railway and I looked that way and there was nothing there. Nobody. And it's a bogey dark railway again. And I looked that way and that's when I saw the big staircase and there was something at the top of the stairs shouting my name. Oh, you can fuck right off, pal. I don't know if it was having that final management side, right, that I no longer wanted to go. I didn't want to go now. I wanted to stay. I wanted to see it through. So it was still being offered up, like getting captured, you know, falling and then being like captured, and then you get into the glue and then there's a stairway and you're like, fuck this, no. It was like the staircase. That was last week, pal. Change your plan. And I wanted to stay. I definitely wanted to see it through because this was beyond beyond everything. This made the whole thing, it appeased everything. So for funny stories, that's where it began. That's where the whole thing, and that's what I mean. There was like two people past each other. This one got to just there, about an inch away, and then it says, are you sure about this? And like, as soon as I took that first one, it was like, boom, this appeared, that got hidden. So the new persona was this brand new version of me. Right. And I like to think that I was 14 because everything that came in for there, I don't think there's a person walking the earth that would be able to squeeze as much as I did in 1984. And again, yes, it maybe does work well with Mr. Orwell's story or whatever story in 1984. But I squeezed that much into that time because I was making up for years of lost time. Right. I was lost in the darkness that was never going to do anything good for me at all. It was going to kill me, and it was trying to kill me on a daily basis, minute by minute, everything. Just hated it, absolutely hated everything. So when I got this one, this was a brand new rebirth, and I fucking ran at it, I jumped all about it. It was great, honestly, it was fantastic. Yeah.
And where did, you know, so that's like first year, second year, secondary school. Where did we go for there? Where did you go for there?
Fucking everywhere.
Exactly. That will tell us.
If I'm in the dark, if I'm in the rabbit hole, it's like my head come out of the rabbit hole and I'm looking thinking, fucking hell, look at that. Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, Alice in Wonderland, whatever you want, because the dream state, the solvents, it allowed me to see things differently. My mind was seeing things differently. Irrespective of the glue, I had unlocked and opened something within my psyche that showed me this whole new world. So it was like chapter 1, really pish. Chapter 2, it was like a pop-up story. It just went ding. Everything was there. So all the movies that
you go from black and white to colour.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a cracking wee doodly at top of the flats, and then it's just rainbows and fucking everything. And that's what it was like because not only did I have an escape, I was absolutely delighted to have found this escape. And that's what it was like. It's like walking about with your head doing all the time and then finding the pound coin. When you're starving, you're like, yes, I've got a pie, I've got a sausage roll.
And you'll hear Alan talk about doodles and stuff like that all the time because there is books and books and books of doodles.
Salvation and doodles.
Exactly.
Salvation in there. Again, it's that interpretation of something. I maybe not be able to put the words on it, but I can fucking draw it, and then you can say to me, what does that mean? And I can detail it. It is almost hieroglyphic to my mind because it's my mind communicating back to me. I didn't sniff glue, I didn't take drugs for reasons I've already stated. It's because that other person doesn't like who I am. Know who the induced fucker is, but who I am. Who you are now. I'm the most dangerous version of me that there is. We have again, I digress because in 2019, I thought that we merged. I thought we come together. We spotted the wee boy and we invited it, so we become that trinity that we all kind of go along together. Very strange analogy, but it all works for me.
Yeah.
So now it's an amalgamation of more. But I'm no willing to sniff glue, take drugs, or anything else to find out if I'm right or if I'm wrong.
No.
I'm better just
You're
being
happy
as
holding
I
the
am.
keys.
100%.
Aye.
I'm the jailer, I swing the keys.
Aye.
And like I say, the prison is no longer a prison. It's it's a visitor's attraction.
It's a visitor's
and that's
attraction.
Why, I welcome anybody in here. Anybody at all that wants to look inside here. So as for dealing with it, that's why any time I've done the TikTok thing up on the bridge, where I say I wouldn't advise anybody to go down the road I went down to deal with this, because it was a major fight. But that was the first one, as in the teenage guy that dealt with that major trauma.
Yep.
Fast forward to 21, and there's your second 7-year cycle. 7-year-old, I left that area, and it just went spiraled way down until I got the release. And I like to think it was 14. If I had met the glue before
you're around
that,
about second year then for us up here.
I would have been second year, 100% when everything kicked in. This is when excitement, fun, and obviously when you're limited resources, fun can be things that are frowned upon in society. So if it's stealing motorbikes, if it's getting in touch with motors and mechanicsy things and how things work and operate, and push bikes and women and just all the things that everybody takes for granted. If you imagine having not one fucking bit of it, and then it all opens up. It's like windy shopping, and then somebody gives you the keys, and you're like, I'm having fucking everything.
Some of that.
I'm having a lot, everything that was available. So, danger, I chase danger every day, because when you're that close to the edge, having a second lease of life, you're like, fuck you. I'm having it all. So I was the stupidest bastard on motorbikes. I would do the stupidest of things. I would be the guy, if somebody says, what about if we did it? I'll do it. I'll do it. It wasn't so much I was a daredevil, it's just that I just didn't care. I had no cares. Because obviously there was no guidance in the physical world, because the guy who was, as I believed was my old man, he had went away and remarried, and he had a new family, so we'd maybe see him on the weekend, and he wasn't the best place to see me anyway. And I think maybe 14 was it was the real punch in the face.
See, you've got all these newfound things that you can go do and everything like that. I mean, what? Anything you want to share on that?
Everything. I'll share anything at all. Again,
so see, look at in fact, sorry, that's where I meant to go with that. There is, you just hit on that. No fucks given. Didn't care about anything. Didn't care about myself. Didn't care about anybody. In a certain fraternity in the world, and wherever you lived, starting to notice that, or did that come later, or was that at a young age? Well, here's this. Go and get that for me. Was there any of that, or deal with this for me, or
in what sense?
Just in the sense of you being that young guy rebelling and no caring about the outcome of something like stealing a bike or stealing. I mean, were any of the, let's say, the wide boys, the boys that would fence stuff or anything
as
like
recognition?
That? Recognition at that age. Right. Well, here we go. I see the fucking monkey's eyes light up there, by the way.
Tell you, because again, there was another guy that I'd watched one of his podcasts, and he says it, and it is that where you're grooming.
Yes.
There was groomers there. Of course there was groomers there, because your average grown fucking man doesn't fit through a windy. And I remember it was hilarious, because it wasn't a grown man in this one instance, but I would possibly regarded as strange things. So I'm outside, we were on the ground floor, so I would climb for the bedroom window, Spider-Man to the kitchen window, Spider-Man to the toilet window, to the other bedroom window. One of the neighbours had spotted this and says to me, oh, listen, how's about I give you £1? My pal in the next stair in the middle flat is away on holiday. She told me to go in and take the whatever out of the house. I can't get in. I've not got the keys. She gave me the wrong keys. But the kitchen window's open. So could you go? And I said, yeah. Like a fucking idiot. Again, I'm naive as fuck. I've climbed up. Kitchen window's shut. Oh, maybe she says the toilet window. So I'd done it. I earned my £1. And only again, in hindsight, you look back and think, you fucking made me break into that house. I had no idea.
That's it, the grooming, But
that's
without even knowing. You know,
when the big boys come in,
aye.
yes, they spotted it, but they spotted a whole new ball game.
Right.
There was a bravado here that was kind of like, wow, this cunt could be handy, and they seen it. But the thievery side and the fun times. One of my oldest pals, when we were in Royston, we used to go into the local big shop. It was called Laws at the time, and you went in, and all the biscuits. There was big rows of biscuits down here in this like tray, but we noticed the tray could move. So you could move the whole thing. It wasn't big, maybe a metre by a metre and a half tall. The fire exit door had a fucking letterbox in it. So we pushed the thing down to the letterbox, whistled out the shop, went round the side of the shop, put our hands through the letterbox and stole all the biscuits. I remember them, they were digestives with a clock face on them. That me.
That's you, boy.
Danger. Sorry.
I know, you're right.
So that skullduggery side was always there. But yeah, for 14 going onwards, yes, I was the go-to guy for no fucks to give. If somebody says, come on, we'll go and do something, I'll do it. And I would go and do it. And then that becomes spotted. You get seen.
And would you say it was you and the team of boys that you hung about with? Was it just laddies doing laddies things, or was there somebody standing there with a gun going, there you go, pal, go and take care of this? In
the initial... it was just stupidity for a giggle, for a laugh, and that would be anything up to second year. But again, I had this. Although I was appeasing the noise, I could turn the noise off, and that's where I say that I had to fund that noise. I had to fund the silencing of the noise. So the guys my age, they'd be what I'd refer to as the fucking asshole monkeys at the bottom of the tree. They would proverbially stick their finger up their ass and think they'd found a new fucking toy. I couldn't do that. I couldn't stop. So I had to escalate fast. So at 14, I would aspire to the big boys who were making money because I needed money. I didn't want to be just breaking into a car to see if there was anything in it. I needed to know what was in the car because that would then fund the shutdown of the noise. So I aspired to older guys.
Because all your mates, you had said before, were all watching reruns of Grease and whatever was going on.
They wanted to do musicals over the couch, and because one of I had two really old pals for when I grew up, and then we moved away, and then we connected again in secondary. But the other one, his mum got a new partner, and she was amazing. We went to the safari park as a wee guy, and that's probably the only memory I have of doing a family type thing. But it was only me, my mum and my brother, because my old man, I don't know, he was probably in the pub. But I remember that they had to dart gun a tiger out a tree, and I grabbed my fucking eyes out because I thought they'd shot it. They'd obviously just fell asleep. But again, probably one of the only memories. I have a handful of memories for the first 7 years of my life, and there's no real fucking champion exciting ones, which is quite sad in itself. But again, it's justified with the way that I felt things. That nurture wasn't there for me. So his mum had got a new partner who stayed in Pilton, bizarrely enough right next to where the pedo man stayed, but he got to run the whole house, which was something that they had inherited for the grandparents. So this was a lived in house. We would strip motorbikes in the living room. We would take the petrol cans off the motorbikes and sniff petrol in the bed. We had bunk beds. The glue was fantastic then. And I'd see the things that happened in that one place. Fucking unbelievable. But everyone had to be exciting. Had to be exciting. And they were all good for it. But then they would put on grease or whatever and start sitting on the back of the couch. And I'm like, this is damn man. And I need to keep going. So, that's when I would aspire to the bigger boys. And the gang that I'd first met up with, they were doing the car thing as a business.
Right.
No, maybe 18, 19-year-old, but they knew in advance. Somebody would say to them, look.
So they were 18, 19, you're still that second year, 14-year-old laddie. Right, okay. Aye.
But the cars, the wee escorts, guys would buy a standard escort and want it to look like one of these RS2000s. So the easiest way to do that is borrow somebody else's and put all the parts on your one. Boom, you've got an RS2000 now. Every part, every nut and bolt was worth money. That money was what I needed. That was the fuel to keep my engine running, and that engine allowed me to tear ahead of the noise and the demons. The noise is probably the best analogy for having an encounter with a pedo. The other stuff, it didn't matter anymore. Or the adverse childhood experience, that was bullshit. It was fucking nothing. But the dark one, I had to hide for that. That would get me. And obviously there was a lot of occasions where there was no funding, there was no crime to be done, there would be things that would happen out with my control, and I would be faced with it. It'd be sitting staring at me. I'd come in, be sitting there waiting on me every fucking night, every day. When I woke up, it was still there.
Right, and so was the pedo just ignored? Now you refer to him as a pedo, so why not? Was he ignored now, or was it later in life before he was dealt with, or anything was dealt with that? Or
do you know one of the funniest things? Again, 14. If you imagine the amount of things that happened at 14, I had my own motorbike. I was introduced to the female form. I was breaking into things. I was making money. I knew how to make money. I knew how to get the things that I wanted. And again, I'm aspiring to older people and all the rest of it. So everything's great. And we had a coal fire. So I've got a motorbike. Mum's making the tea. I'll go and light the fire. We're good at doing it. You got the top of an old twin tub washing machine. Right. It fitted right over the face of the fire. That drew the fire. Boom. Jobs are good. Smart ass. I'll fucking show you how to get this thing going. I put petrol from my motorbike on the fire. Set up. And there we go. There's Bobby Dazzler. I'm away to the shops. So I'm in the shops, and one of the neighbours come over and says, your house is on fire. My mum's cooking. My mum was nae Gordon fucking Ramsay. I tell you what, she could swear like I'm and throw things at you, but she could not cook. Chip pan. So I dondered back. Fuck me, the house was on fire. The petrol had ran through the fire, unbeknown to me, and ran out the grate and went under the chair. And set the chair up. Again, I laugh about it now. The funniest thing was seeing my big brother coming back for his YTS. That's how I know it was 84, because he was 16 when he done his YTS.
YTS,
donkey
youth training scheme, wasn't it?
25 quid, 25 quid shekels. He appeared, obviously he's coming back for his hard day's graft to get his tea. I don't know, fucking house is on fire. Gone. The houses at that time were due for an upgrade. And if you broke Pelton into 4, Miller, Barrett and Wimpy had bought the 3. And the last quarter, it was getting regenerated. It was getting new windies, central heating and everything else, which was a godsend.
Is that the Burfey Apache land down where the
No, that's West Canton.
Well, that's right. I'm up the road a bit. Sorry.
But in Pelton itself, well, where the pedo stayed, I've set fire to the house thinking, silly bastard. Obviously, everybody, the whole family fucking hates me. I've just set fire to the house. So, again, more shite for the bag. There was also, prior to that, because obviously heroin was rife, really bad, the neighbours in the top flat had actually broken into the house. I was skiving school, allowed to. On a Monday, we had an electric meter and a telemeter. I could pick the telemeter and give my man the money. See the face on the guy that would come to collect the money when he opened the meter, a coin meter, and found a £10 note. I just manipulated things. I'm lying in my bed skiving. What generally happened was when the meters got emptied, there was always an excess. So it was kind of like an extra bonus.
That's right,
Well, what happened was I'm sleeping. I had a wee tiny dog at the time, a wee pup, and it started barking. I told it to shut the fuck up. But I sleep. Go up. I went through, got my cornflakes or whatever I'd got, went back, because you didn't have a remote control. Press the button on the telly. Fucking telly's no one. Mustn't be any money in the meter. Fuck it. I saw a chair at the back of the front door, which is a kitchen chair that would allow you to open the meter because it was up high. I'm sitting there eating that. They've come back for the shops. My big brother was also skiving school, and his pal was staying there at the time. They've come back for the shops with my man. And like, Barry, is the telly man been? I said, I don't fucking know. You must have let him in. My big brother's come straight through, looked at the telly. The fucking house has been broken into, you arsehole. So they hated me for that.
For that, another one.
It was the druggies that was there. We knew, but the police again, not only did my family fucking blame me, the police come in and actually try to blame me as well. And I was like, you can't, can an asshole not get a break here? So when
bricks for the bag.
Well, so when again, fire them, and then you set the house on fire within a matter of probably, if no days, it'd be fucking weeks. I've set the house on fire as well. So everything is construed to fucking smash my head right in. So there's 2 that I'm carrying. Big weights with every other bit of adverse shite that I had. Where did they move us to? 2 fucking stairs away from the pedo. That just, see, if I thought I'd got away with it, this just brought it all back. So as for dealing with it, no, because I started using it to my advantage.
Right.
And it didn't get me wrong, I've spent many, many, many hours. There is a cracking story that I wrote, and it deals with it. So I find if I write about it, I'm dealing with it.
Right.
So if it was ever to, something was to happen, you would know it was me, because it wouldn't just be a straightforward, boom, he's been shot, or he's just been hit with a hammer. No. There's it's every option has been played on and played out. But who loses there?
Right.
That's the one that nobody gets. Revenge is as sweet as motherfucking pie. And could I do it? Yes, I do. I mean, the things I could do and go to sleep like a baby. No problem. No bother at all. That's me going to sleep. It's not my wife, it's not my daughters, and it's not my family, because then I'm now labelled as an asshole. Top of the tree, fucking idiot. For what? Oh, well, you know, the courts would have a label that they would try and put on it, like, well, you know, there was provocation there.
Yeah.
But you've had years to get over that. You've got counselling. You could have went to drama school and whatever you could have done. So there was no need for me. And that's what society, I think, misses.
There's legal paths to follow.
Exactly. I could have went down that route and all the rest of it. Whereas, no, go back to the primeval monkey. I can't really say what I would do, because I would enjoy it. And that's the sickest thing about it. One of the worst nightmares I've ever had in later years.
Enjoying that's feeding the monkey again, making him louder.
The monkey would love it. The monkey would have an absolute ball, to the extent that it would become a plaything. And that scares me, because that's in there, and it's something that I've had to deal with all my life. Yeah, because it is scary. The scariest part is I think I'm in control, or we are in control. But there's also that 0.5 element that I don't know. I don't know what's going to... It's like sitting here. We don't know what's going to come out. We don't know what we're talking about, really, because it's not rehearsed or anything like that. I've played the part. I've played that many parts, and getting to where I am, that acting becomes second nature, because that's all I've done. So that persona at 14 was the rawest version of the actor that was going to be. So bravado, yes. Up for anything, yes. Up for danger, fuck aye. Am I learning how to fight? I am indeed, because me and my brother would knock the shit out of each other. And that was all the tools that I required to go out there. And where I'm fucking big check me, boom, set the house on fire. Oh, did you forget about this? Did you forget what you actually are? It's like life just grabs you by the scruff of the neck and forces you to address it again, because...
Didn't get too comfortable with all that colour and nice things.
I've
this might look like the promised land, but I'm here.
I've built a prison cell. I've managed to coerce this fucking thing in it. Has it appeased? Yeah, I can skate past there. I've got slippers on. I'll tiptoe by it. It'll never hear me. Are you sure? Here, get in. And that's when it threw me back in. So everything I thought I'd overcome was there. But what came out there was my old pal Bob Marley.
Right.
Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, UB40, and Hash. That fucking really did appease whatever was making me the way that I was, because I remember walking that field, and the field in itself, where we were, I walked over to the flats to smoke dope. One of the only times we were in the flats when we'd come back for Toll Cross, when I'd got run over. We stayed in my auntie's before we actually got the house, which is just down the hill for the pedo. Again, the pedo is it's a centre for fucking adverse experiences. The drunk had appeared. I always refer to him as the drunk. That was the guy who I was named after. James was his brother, who's my old man. Really. So he come up, and I was like, take him with you, just forcing me on. And he was, you know, and hesitant as fuck. I swear to God. See, from one end of the field to the other, should maybe take you average in 3 to 4 minutes. Took him about 25, because he kept stopping. You sure you want to come? You sure? He kept fucking offering me no to go. And the reason is because he was going to his fancy bit that was then going to become his new wife. Right. Didn't he want me there, because I might slip up, and he didn't fucking want me there, because we didn't have a relationship as such anyway. So to walk that path backwards again, going backwards. We're in that house, see, he escaped to the flats again And again, 7 years later, with these older guys, they introduced me to all the music. Neil Young, all these things, Harvest and things, two brothers. It was all one family. They all had one name. The one guy, 6 months ago, we lost him. He was the guy that I went and got my first flat with on the same day. Again, another great story.
Yeah.
But these guys were all related. Sisters, brothers, cousins. And the dope that they smoked, they had a... You remember Glenn Michael's Cavalcade?
Oh, of course, aye. Oh, Paladin.
He had a fucking bomb. It was Paladin. I took it, James, honestly. There was 2 single beds in this room, and when we got there, we stayed there, me and my brother, we had to share a single bed. And if you remember the old sprung
bed,
you rolled into the middle.
That,
we rolled into the middle, and every time we touched each other, we hated each other worse and worse. So once I had my encounter with my fucking dear friend, anytime my brother come near me, if we were fighting, and he got me, if he was breathing anywhere near me, the monkey come out. The monkey would, you're no beating this one. You're no beat this fucker. No, if you're there. I remember trying to do him in the face with iron. It's just horrible. Things that should never have been. But again, society was moulding these things. I took that bong and I put the fucker out. Because again, it was appeasing. The noise was going away. It was getting quieter and quieter and quieter. And it's that fucking, what's her name, that weird Scandinavian bird. It's so quiet. Brilliant. So, smoking dope and music, they could appease the monkey as well. So now, I've got the glue, I've got the dope, and crime, believe it or not, that adrenaline rush, it was doing it as well. But that was fleeting. That was just a wee short burst. It's only when you've done the short burst, you've got to then get the cash, get to the shops, because at 14, you're not allowed to buy glue. You're not allowed to buy fucking lighter fluid. You're not allowed to do any of that. And you certainly aren't really going to get the right people to buy dope off it. No. You'll get your money taken, but you might not get what you're looking for. But again, these are all ladders that I was getting a foot on. I was getting my foot on them all. And
because you hung about with the older crew, it would make it more accessible. I
didn't have to go to the door. I would be on your coattails. So we'd go to the door, and that was when selling dope was the real deal. You went in, and would it make much sense? A certain individual who had a kid who lied to me for 28 fucking years, she stayed in a stair there. The first guy that we went to buy dope off in about 1984 that I was introduced to, you lifted the letterbox and pressed a buzzer in there. They knew that's what it was. That was code. That was heroin was there, but it was still hash. People were adopting the same kind of principles because people would rob you. So, and this guy was brilliant. His gear was fucking grade A stuff, and that then leads you to other people. So it's like, oh, I like lattes. All right, well, Costa Diet, Starbucks Diet, Cafe Nero, If you liked a certain kind of dope, they were all there. And they all done it. It all had a different effect, and it all worked really well and complemented music. And that was me. I had found somewhere else I could hide. So finding hiding places for the noise become number one. Absolutely number one. Things would then, because the analytical mind that I had anyway, I would always be looking for that thing I didn't know. I loved breaking the law. I loved the excitement. I loved smoking dope because it appeased the noise. I loved sniffing glue because it took me elsewhere, away from demon noises. Well, the one word that ties them all together is love. That's what I did not fucking have. That's what I missed. I never had it. When people are wanting fucking battery for setting the house on fire, police are wanting to arrest you because it was your fault, and people are actually breaking into your house when you've got fuck all anyway. This isn't the love. That's no love. So for me to try and find it, I found it. But again, hindsight was the only one that could show me what it was that I was looking for and what I was missing.
Huge amount of cause and effect in that in a young age and everything like that. How do you deal with it? You know what I mean? Well,
case in point is I'm here now, and that's where the reflection side and the podcasts are going to work, but they're never going to come out in one certain aspect, because that she went in the first 2 cycles for 7 to 14, which hopefully is enough to justify how do you get to that mindset where you want to rebel against fucking everything. 7-year-old will do it because you've not got love, you've not got nurturing, and you've not got that guidance that most guys take for granted. And I love the stories of guys when they're heartbroken. I've watched my pals for years having to deal with the grief of losing their old man. My mum told me that the guy who I believed was my old man at 18 woke me up. Oh, and that's your dad's died. No bother. And I went back to sleep. He had that much effect on me, not a fucking bit. The one at 14, again, that 1984 is better than Mr. Orwell. He would come up on a Saturday, and it would be a bottle of whiskey. The one thing I wanted to do as a young guy, now I might have been absolutely shit, it was join Sparta. I just wanted to join Sparta. Right. I wanted to box because I had venom building inside of me. I knew it was there because of the hatred that was around about me. This could be a release for it all. Right, so you want to join the boxing then, Aye. You get some gloves. Why? I'll have some of them. You need shorts. What size are you? A pair of shorts. There's some boots and fucking. And I'm fucking like, I just want to join the boxing. But this is great. Again, hindsight will kick in years later. That it's no him. It's the bottle. That's what's talking to you. Right. He done fuck all. I got nothing. I never got to join. So again, another great resentment because I might have been able to channel a lot of the bullshit there. Then sniffing glue, smoking, But it wasn't to be. This is the version of what I was supposed to be, and there's nothing I can do about that. Again, the guidance wasn't there.
Yeah, that's right, because you were left to nurture yourself.
That's it. I had to fend for myself. Every action that had the reaction could have been avoided if some fucking idiot somewhere along the line or the path had said to me, look, then you want to go down that road, son. Come over here, do this.
And that exact comment there is why we're doing this. Exactly. For you to be, if there's nobody there, he's here to at least talk it over with.
To me, it's a straight
or to
path.
say, go and turn that way 45 degrees, that's a better path. You know,
the one major thing for me would be for anyone at any age, that just get it fucking ruined in front of you. If you're a young guy, because I knew, that's what I'm saying, I knew the path was going to unfold the way it was, because every support network or mechanism that should have been available to me was removed.
Right.
So when you take the matriarch and patriarch, take the patriarch away, boom, that's me, I'm on my own. I've got no guidance fate above. I've got no father leading me and steering me, so I'm on my own. I'm on shit creek on my own, and there's me in my wee canoe. So I'm sailing in shit creek. Then you take the society that's your next closest thing. At 14, setting the house on fire, the house getting broken into. All of these things are taking the family, it's wrecked that. That's fucking bursting wide open as well. So the paddles are gone. And then when society introduces fucking weirdos and paedophiles into your life, you have nothing. Your canoe has got holes in it. You are fucking destined to go down. So just, paddle, and then you start swimming and swimming and swimming. So I know that it's a bit wishy-washy and scattered, but when you take each one of the elements and try and visualise it for the wee boy's point of view, yes, there was stages to it, and I'm no good at doing the stages. I just give you a kind of soup bowl, but you'll see the bits that are in there that lead me to where I was.
Where he was.
I had nothing.
Is 14, as we're saying here and now.
14's a biggie. 14's definitely.
Guess what?
We've done an hour.
That's an hour in.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And we're only at 14. Dude. So I think, I'm going to just leave it to you to conclude on that at 14, because we've got weeks of this. We've agreed to weeks of it to tell a story.
Reality, but
we're at 14. Conclude on it, Paul. Go and
conclude at 14. Apart from being moved there, which to me in the journey was just a minor inconvenience. It was just another fucking setback, another hurdle, another wall, another barrier that I had to overcome. What was over the other side of that was music and dope. Another channel that I could fucking use. No abuse. I've never abused drugs. I've always used them to my ability. Would I recommend it to anyone? No, because what I'm saying is, then you load up the bag. Take the bag out. It doesn't belong to you. If anything, get yourself a travel case. Just put wee bits in it. You know what I mean? That was shite. Put that in. You know what? That's fucking
that's no mine.
Isn't even a thing.
So I think let's go again next week. I'm going to
definitely.
So look, we've got Alan up to 14. Interesting.
Yeah, I just hope I've not pissed anyone off.
We've maybe battered about a bit there, but I think it's better to get it out. It's better to talk about. But listen, that's us at an hour. So if you've listened this far, thank you very much.
Definitely.
And we're going to record again next week. So stay tuned for Just Another Monkey.
Third cycle.
Yeah, I got players out with my wee happy song again, Paul.
Happy.
But Alan, hey mate, he's awesome. I wasn't sure how far to push that there, but hey.
The Fly Fifer Podcast. Let's talk. Your chat, your way.
Thank you very much. 1 hour done, dude.
1 hour, that's me.